Absolute dynamite. Oh my goodness. Andrew McCART, IFL TV in association with MTK Global. I'm here in beautiful Monte Carlo, Monaco. With me I've got Tony Sims. Tony, we've just been talking off camera about how beautiful this is, man. Can you just sum it up yourself?
We were just saying, like, of all the shows we do, like Your Call, you know, all the places we go around London, and then we find ourselves in Monaco, beautiful weather.
I'm going to do a wee pan round just to show people where we're sitting right now. There's the ocean over there. I mean, look at this.
The Monte Carlo Bay Hotel, what a wonderful hotel. It's like a Vegas hotel here.
Beautiful,
and beautiful, and we're just sitting in the sun, lapping it up.
Well, you've got the sun directly on your face, so you'll probably get a nice tan. It's going to hit the bald spot in the back of my head. But
you have a redneck, don't you?
Exactly, a redneck. Well, we're in Monaco, we're in Monte Carlo. The reason we're here is your fighter Joe Cordina is fighting a tough Mexican in Monaco. As we all know, if anyone watched the Jordan Gill fight, stop Jordan Gill. Tough fighter for Joe, but he's moving down in weight, Joe, for the first time. How is he making weight in that transition to go down to super featherweight from lightweight, and how's he feeling this week? Yeah,
like you say, he's a tough fight at Monaco. He come over to England and stopped Jordan Gill a few months back. He boxed Devon Haney and lost a decision to Devon Haney, which shows his toughness as well. He went the distance, 10 rounds. So we know how good Devon Haney is. So you know he's going to come to win the fight. You know he's had a lot of notice. You know, he must have had like 12 weeks notice for this fight, so he'll be in great condition as well. So expecting a tough fight, and you know, we've moved Joe down a weight because on the last fight he had, we brought a dietitian in, Dan Lawrence, who's his S&C coach as well, and he put him on a strict diet for the first time because Joe sort of was making lightweight easy, and the week before the fight, or on the Monday of the fight, he was weighing 9'8", so he was a pound under the lightweight limit. So then we were saying to him, you need to eat something to weigh in on the Friday. So I said to him afterwards, listen, if you're a pound under the lightweight limit on a Monday, it means you're only 4 pound over the super feather limit, which you should be going into the week's fight. That's the weight you should be, 3 or 4 pound over. So I said, really, you're a natural super feather if you're eating properly. And like this time, he's done the weight, and he was weighing 9.5 on Monday. So he's had a pound and a half all week to shift, which is easy. So
he still came on half a pound under, didn't he?
Yeah, he come half a pound under. Yeah, he woke up this morning like 9 stone 4, and then by the time we got to the weigh-in, he was like 9.3½. So it just shows you that he is a natural super feather, but obviously he's got to box at that weight yet. So you know, until he's boxed at that weight, he won't know what he feels like. But I think he'll be fine. You know, he always gets himself in good condition, Joe. He's a good professional, and it's a good test for him as well. It's a great test for him. He ain't just coming into a super featherweight fight where he's had like an 8-rounder against just a journeyman. He's gone into a super feather fight where he's got a really hard fight on his hands, and you know, it's a good test for him tomorrow.
He's going to be a big super featherweight, Joe. I mean, he's my height, you know what I mean? So I can't envision me getting down to 9 stone 4, but it just, you think with Joe moving down, we've seen him fight Gavin Gwynn. We talked again off camera. He was 6'1", a big guy. Do you think this is where Joe's going to be more comfortable fighting smaller guys? Oh, it's maybe a stupid question really, but fighting the smaller guys, we can probably see more of Joe's power, more of Joe's skill set against these smaller guys and stuff like that?
Well, that's what I was thinking, you know, because when you're a small lightweight, and you start fighting big lightweights, you know, and as you start moving up through the ranks as well, like when you get into world level, some of these lightweights are massive, you know, like I had Devon Haney down the gym, as you know, sparring a couple of months ago against Ricky Burns, and he's like was twice the size of Ricky Burns, and Ricky Burns is a big, when Ricky Burns stands next to Joe Cordina, Ricky Burns is a big lightweight, you know, and Devon Haney was dwarfing him. So I said to Joe, look, you ain't this weight, mate, you ain't a lightweight. You know, you got to do this properly, be professional, work hard over the 12-week course, and get your weight down gradually, and you'll make super feather comfortable, which he has done.
You can see Joe world champion at this weight then, and is more quicker than we can if he was at lightweight. Do you know what I'm saying?
I hope so.
Maybe because Joe's a British champion, Commonwealth champion, WBA, continental
international
champion, lightweight, international champion, and then doing it down at super featherweight. I mean, if he does a number in Monaco here, maybe his name will start rolling with some of the world
Yeah,
champions.
exactly, and like you say, he's a big super featherweight. I mean, if you look at him standing next to Monaco at the weigh-in, you know, he looks massive compared to him. So, and you always want to try and be the biggest you can on your weight, as long as you're making it comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, and like everyone in the gym, everyone obviously works hard to get down on their weight, and he's the only one who like gets 2 weeks before the fight starts dieting, you know, and that's not good enough if you want to be a top elite professional.
Well, I've got to get your opinion, because obviously you're one of them coaches that you don't get interviewed as much. You see guys like maybe Dave Caldwell, Joe Gallagher, and all these guys, they get interviewed quite a lot, talk about the fighters, big their fighters up, but we don't really hear from yourself. Now, I really want to get your opinion on last weekend, Callum Smith, John Ryder. I don't know what you're going to say, so I'm looking forward to this. A lot of outcry on Twitter. A lot of people thought that, maybe 90% of people thought that John Ryder won on Twitter. Obviously, you being John Ryder's coach, what was your initial reaction to the scorecards last weekend?
Well, as the fight finished, the bell went for the 12th round. I naturally thought that John had won the fight. I knew it was a pretty close fight, but I just thought he won the fight. You know, when you look at, defensively, he was a more sounder fighter. You know, he didn't really take any punches, no punishment at all, and he was slipping and sliding and rolling beautifully, and his counter punches was lovely. And you know, as it got into the later rounds, I knew, say after 8 rounds, it was pretty close, pretty even, but I thought if he starts pulling away in the last 4 rounds, which I believe out of the last 4 he won the last 3, I thought he won it by a good couple of rounds. But when they first read out the decision of 117-111, the first judge's decision, I just thought to myself, surely they ain't give it to John by that margin, because this is a close fight. I didn't think that Callum had still won the fight. I just thought that's a bit of a wide margin to get at John. And then when they went 116-112, I still thought John had the fight. And then when they said Callum Smith, it was just like, I felt choked for John. I really felt choked for him, because I've been with him all through his career, and he's had one of them careers when a lot of fighters would have packed it in. You know, he's lost fights that he should have won. You know, mentally he must have dipped so low in his life where he must have been contemplating retiring himself, especially after the Jack Armfield fight. You know, he couldn't make weight for that fight, and we're talking about weight as well. He couldn't make weight for that fight. He struggled really badly, and that showed his performance, even though I thought he won that fight as well. Yeah. But he was like ponderous in the fight. He was slow, he didn't do what he was supposed to do. And he said to me afterwards, I just can't fight at middleweight anymore. And leading up to the Jack Armfield fight, he was like, I remember we got him on, because he got beat by Nick Blackwell. And he said to me then, he was struggling to do the weight, but he weren't saying to me then he wanted to go up a weight. He just said, I'm struggling to do this weight. And in them days, we didn't really have top dietitians in them days like we've got now. We've got like Dan Lawrence now, who's like a really good dietitian, S&C coach, but in them days they weren't really heard of, so you was all trying to read up and try to do your best with the weight, but obviously he wasn't doing the weight right. And like after that defeat, before the Jack Armfield fight, you know, I remember we couldn't get him a fight, and he was sitting around and he said, look, I want to fight, you know. And we went to the Camden Centre. Mickey Elliott done us a favour, funny enough. He put us on a little Camden Town Hall show. We were standing in the change rooms. There was about like 15 boxers in the changing room, sweltering up. You know, and he boxed a 6-rounder against a Russian kid who was tough, funny enough. He gave him a tough fight, and I think he ended up with about 400 quid at his purse for it. You know, and he must have been thinking at the time, is this what my life's turned out to be like? I started off as a top prospect, boxed for the British title against Billy Joe Saunders. That could have gone either way, that fight, by the way, that night.
Yeah.
Billy won it by, I think he won it by a point or maybe 2 points on the scorecards. There's no arguing about it. I personally thought John might have nicked it, or it might have been a draw, but it was, you know, that's my opinion. I'm always going to be a little bit biased, but after that he must have been thinking, where's my career going here, you know, boxing at the Camden Centre, £400, like what am I doing, you know. And then he said to me one day, look, I'm going to move up a weight and give it a try. And I said, John, you're like 5'9" tall, you know, someone who's super middleweight, you're huge. And he said, look, I'm going to give it a try, because if I don't give it a try, I might as well pack up. You know, and he moved up a weight. He had an hard first fight against Adam Etches. It was something, I can't remember his record, but he'd lost one out of like...
And he was known as quite a hard hitter, Adam.
He's a hard hitter, tough kid. He'd lost one fight. That was to Sergio Kamitsky.
That's right,
he was a good fighter.
I was in Sheffield, I was at that fight.
That's right. And he'd moved up to super middle as well from middle. And John put in a good performance against him. He hurt Etches in one of the rounds. It might have been the 9th or 10th. He hurt him a couple of times, nearly had him out on his feet, just couldn't finish him. Then the next fight, he boxed Rocky Fielding, split decision that night. I think the split decision, he lost by a point. So I remember thinking, he had Fielding out on his feet in the 11th round, didn't finish him again. And I remember thinking, John's won this, same thing in Liverpool, John's won this fight, you know, we're celebrating in the corner, and then it went split decision the other way. So by that point, he must have been thinking, what am I doing, do you know what I mean? Like, I've moved up a weight, and this ain't working. And then the Patrick Nelson fight come out of the blue, really. I think they just took John on because he'd been here and there, he's had a couple of British title fights.
A couple of big names in Billy Joe, Rocky Fielding. Yeah.
And Patrick Nelson was like #1 ranked with the WBA, so they're obviously thinking, right, we'll put him on the George Groves, Jamie Cox undercard, and we're just getting an opponent in from John Ryder, who's half all decent, you know. And then John put the performance of his life in that night, you know, he knocked him unconscious. I think it was the 6th or 7th round. And bang, he's put himself back in the frame. Eddie then offers him the Jamie Cox fight. Bang, 2 rounds, that's over and done with. And then he goes into the final eliminator against Sorotsky, who was an unbeaten Russian, 15-0. Takes that fight. Didn't perform that great that night. He got badly cut in the 2nd round, which obviously hampered him. And but he got the job done. 7th round, bang. Then that was in last October. So now we're sitting around again. Nothing's happening. Like Callum Smith's allowed to do a voluntary before he's mandatory. Now we're sitting around and then nothing. Then he's ticking over in the gym, and then Eddie says, look, Golden Boy want John to fight David Lemieux on the Canelo undercard. Risky fight. John's mandatory, he don't need to fight David Lemieux, not at all. You know, massive puncher. And I know Billy Joe completely outboxed David Lemieux, but John Ryder ain't Billy Joe's style. You know, John Ryder gets in there and he blasts you out himself. So that was going to be an explosive fight, and that could have gone boss-eyed for John. You know, mentally, he had to prepare himself mentally there that he could lose his mandatory position. And we took the fight, the interim title was on the line, and as you know, like the week before the fight, David Lemieux injured his hand, which I know was legitimate. I know now that it's legitimate, because I spoke to the sparring partner, Douglas Douglin, who he was sparring with. And he injured, and he injured his hand. But at that time, we was over there, and like when they said change of opponent, and they said this is the guy you're fighting, he's a Golden Boy fighter. Eddie Ronaldo trains him. He's Canelo's sparring partner. He's had like 20 wins. I can't remember how many KOs, 16 or 17 KOs. I was thinking, we've been had over here. We've been brought in, and you know, I don't know what's going to go on here now. You know, we've got a young, fresh puncher in front of us. And anyway, so that's the week before. On the Wednesday of the fight, we're just doing our last workout, and we're going to go to the public workout of the. It was in the MGM Grand, which, as a fighter, you know, to go and do the public workout before Canelo in the MGM Grand, it's like what you dream of all your life. Next thing you know, my Charlie rings me. He says, like the Nevada Commission's been onto him, and we've got to have an MRA scan done, because apparently when you first turn professional in Britain, you have an MRI and an MRA, and that MRA lasts you for your career basically. Once you've had one, you don't need to have another, because the MRI is more sophisticated than the MRA. But in Nevada, it's every 5 years you've got to have an MRA. Really? Yeah, so John's was obviously 10 years ago. So he said, you got to have an MRA. Oh, all right. Goes to do the MRA. Sorry, that was the day before the public workout. Sorry, done the MRA the day before the public workout. as we're going to the public workout, they ring us and go, oh, your MRA ain't come back complete, like the doctors are having trouble reading it. So now what we want you to do is, we want you to go and have a CT CAT scan. So we went and missed the public workout.
This is all before the fight?
It's all before the fight. Bearing in mind the day before we're travelling to hospitals having the MRA. This is on the Wednesday, we've got to have the CT CAT scan now. So goes and has the CT CAT scan. Now it's like Thursday morning, we get the call saying, oh, the doctor can't read it properly. We're not sure whether it's...
You can't read the CT scan either?
Yeah, we're not sure about the CT scan now. So I'm going, what do you mean you're not sure about? You're not sure about the MRA scan, you're not sure about the CT scan, yet we only done our MRI scan just before we come over here, and it was fine, balled past it fine. Oh yeah, well, there's something that might not be right. So I'm saying, so what do you want to do? So I think we need to go and have another CT CAT scan. This is just before...
It's not ideal prep, is it?
Just before the press conference. So I went, listen, he's got a press conference in a minute. Like, let him do the press conference. Alright, and he goes, there's another one. Oh no, we don't go and have another one. After the press conference I go, you know what? I ain't going to let him do another one. You've pulled him around for 2 days here and there. I'm not going to let him do another scan. So we might as well go home. And then we went, listen, let us speak to the doctor again. Then the doctor went, oh yeah, it's all right, that scan. I've read it. They give it to another doctor.
Oh, right, okay.
Another doctor read it. Went, yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. So I went to John. So we've had a pull out of opponent a week before. We've had 2 days of hospitals here since we've been here, and that was his preparation for the week's fight. So this is what I was talking about in the press conference. Mentally, John Ryder's a very, very strong individual. Nothing phases John Ryder, and you can see on fight week at Callum Smith, nothing phased him. Whatever people were saying to him, however much people ignored him before the fight and thought he was going to get knocked out in 3 rounds, what I was trying to get across was John Ryder's a very, very strong-minded individual. From what he's come from down on the bottom to come to the top like he has, and been through what he's been through. And he's not made any money out of the sport, by the way, either. And that's another thing. He's like 31, never made any money, do you know what I mean? But he still keeps progressing. He still keeps training hard. He's still trying to live his dream, you know, find his dream that he's dreamt of since he was 15 years old.
Champion.
To be a world champion, which is every fighter's dream. And then to come into the fight, 25 to 1 underdog, put the performance of his life in, by the way, which not one person.
Against somebody like Callum Smith as well.
Callum Smith, 26-0, 19 knockouts. Great fighter, by the way. I really rate Callum. Fantastic fighter. You know, I've watched nearly all his fights, you know, and a really good fighter, a lovely kid as well. You know, and it was always going to be an hard fight, always in my eyes. But I always believed John had the mental strength and the will.
That's on film, Tony. That's on film. That's on film.
Nearly fell in the swimming pool. Let me turn that on. It's Charlie ringing me. Thanks, Charlie. Nearly chucked me in the pool.
Wait till he sees this.
Yeah. And yeah, and to come back, can't do what he done in the fight. And for the decisions to come back like that, I was just heartbroken for the kid. I really was, because that was his dream there. That night was his dream. And not just his dream, but his financial future, you know, to go, because he always said to me, I want to buy a house for my wife and kids, you know, and it's heartbreaking to see that happen. It really is, on a night where he should have been raising his arms in the air. He should have had the ring magazine belt around him. He should have been in his next fight. He should have been secure.
His name in the hat for Canelo and something like that, yeah.
You know, and that's what you dream of your whole life. You know, and it's like I said before. Look, I had John winning the fight, but it was an hard fight. And if they'd have read out scores of like 115, 114, split decision, I probably wouldn't have said anything, because I'd have thought, you know what, it's an hard fight.
Yeah.
He's the home fighter, he's the champion. John fought unbelievable out of his skin, but when you get scores happening like that, it's just like, nah, mate.
Would you be lobbying for the rematch? Do you want the rematch? Stupid question maybe, but do you want? Is that something you want next for John, or maybe in the near future?
Of course, and I wrote to the WBA asking for John to be in mandatory position. I know Eddie spoke to the WBA. Eddie obviously would like to do the rematch, because I think it's like, I was talking earlier to somebody, it's like, they were saying like, it's like the Groves and Froch fight, when the first fight, when Groves fought Froch, everyone thought, you know, Froch was going to demolish him in a couple of rounds, and George put the performance of his life in. Got stopped in the end, but it was controversial.
Yeah.
So the public demand called for that rematch. The public demand is a big outcry because of the official, and he got made. And I think we're going through that same thing at the moment with the public outcry. I mean, this has been going on all week now. You know, I'm getting bombarded with messages. I know I don't go on social media, but obviously all my boxers do, and my team, you know, and it's still going on about this decision. And you know, if the public want to make this rematch, and then the rematch will get made. Obviously, if I'm looking from Joe Gallagher and Callum Smith's team, they obviously want to do like the Canelo fight,
yeah.
which I don't blame them. I would be doing that. I wouldn't be thinking I'm going to fight John Ryder again, you know. But it's dependent on how much the public wants to see this fight again. And if Callum Smith don't get the Canelo fight, you know, then it might be made. But when I was talking to Eddie earlier, I know Callum's in the reckoning for the fight. I know Billy Joe's in the reckoning for the Canelo fight. If the worst comes to the worst, and then John will get a world title shot, maybe the regular belt, but he will get something next, which is a good position to be in still, because I still believe John can become a world champion and get his dream. And if he does get a belt of some sort, then it might push for the rematch as well, even more. You know, because I think people do truly believe that John is the world champion, even though the judges didn't. You know, and the public know who won that fight. And I think John feels in himself that he won the fight.
He's put up a good performance against guys like Billy Joe, Lockfield and Cam Smith. I mean, if anything, his stock has risen again, even though you could take any positives from that loss, is that John's stock has risen yet again. So people are starting to maybe know who John Ryder is, know the type of fighter he is, and like you say, the public will. Again, I say like Twitter's a powerful tool, because the majority of fights nowadays are made on Twitter with two boxers going back and forth, you know, so the fans outcry, like maybe for you, obviously John, the rematch, or if not, like you said, the regular belt could be on display. But I want to touch yourself on a little bit something else. Is like, I want to talk about Saudi Arabia next weekend, because Anthony Joshua's got the rematch against Ruiz, and you had Anthony for the first part of his career. I mean, how do you see that fight going next weekend?
Yeah, obviously the big talk is all about the fight now.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm looking forward to the fight. I think if Anthony Joshua boxes smart, uses his feet, boxes behind the jab nice and long, uses his straight combinations on Ruiz, and then when Ruiz comes inside, he can tie him up a bit, messing around, he's got the sides, he can lean on him. I think Joshua can be smart and beat him. But the trouble is, if he starts trading on the inside with him, Ruiz is dangerous on the inside, because the reason is his hands are so fast, and he obviously punches hard as well, and he's an inside fighter. So it just depends how Joshua comes into this fight. I've seen photos of him, he looks in great condition, and you know, we're expecting an hard fight, but I do believe that he can pull this off, Anthony Joshua. I believe he can be a two-time heavyweight champion of the world, which not a lot of people have done that.
Yep.
He's smart enough to do it, and you know, I'd love to see him do it. He's such a nice man.
I mean, like I said, you trained Anthony the earlier part of his career, and you know the type of man he is, but how would you describe his mindset going into this fight? I mean, coming off the loss, a stoppage loss at that, against something he was sort of like pegged on to win. So how do you think Anthony's approaching this fight in Saudi Arabia next weekend?
I think through camp, knowing what I know of Anthony Joshua, he'd have probably been approaching it in an angry sort of way, because when you get to know Anthony, he's got a lot of fire in his belly that he don't really perceive to the public. He's got a lot of fire in his belly, and he would have hated that loss. He would have hated it, and it was just the manner in which he lost as well.
Yeah.
I don't know whether when we're talking about mental state of mind, because I like to talk about that a lot with boxers, I think I don't know because I weren't in that camp and I weren't around him, but to me he didn't look like he was under 10% on that fight mentally. And for that sort of opponent, Andy Ruiz, who's a dangerous fast fighter inside, you've got to be switched on every second of the round. And I think when he dropped him and he went in for the kill straight away and he got caught back, I think it just took him completely out of his stride. You know, he was on the floor, must have been thinking, what am I doing on the floor against this guy here? Yeah. And his head just completely went. And I think this time around, as I was saying, if he's smart and mentally switched on, strong in the mind, mentally switched on, he's got the ability, obviously the size, the athleticism to beat him, you know, and he should outbox him, outsmart him, use his size and reach to beat him, and use his feet. He's got good feet when he needs to use them, Anthony. He's light on his feet for a big man. And as I say, I've seen photos of him and he looks like he's trimmed down, you know, and sometimes I feel like he's carrying too much muscle on him as well, which obviously makes you feel heavy. And I feel like he can really pull this off next week. I really hope he does.
Well, it'd be good for British boxing if he does pull it off as well. I mean, like I said, you had Joshua. What happened to the sort of your relationship with Joshua? If you don't mind me asking, but like,
nothing. We had a contract, like 3-year contract, and the contract ran out. So that's all it was. There's nothing, you know. It's just business. I think the world of Anthony. You know, still message him and he still messages me. You know, and he's got a great coach in Robert Kraken.
He's brought an Angle Fernandez as well.
Yeah, he's brought a couple of other coaches in. He likes having a couple of coaches around him. He's always had me around, you know, in the past. And maybe I was getting busy myself with my own stable, because at that time he was like training in my gym for the first 3 years, and then he decided to move more to Sheffield with Rob, and you know, and that's what happened. And the contract ran out, and that was it. There's nothing else in that. Do you know what I mean? And as I say, I wish him all the best, and I hope he pulls it off.
I think we all wish him all the best. Well, Tony, I won't keep you much longer. I mean, I'm starting to get cold now. The wind's starting to pick up a little bit. Should we go back up and get a coffee?
Nice one, mate.
Nice one, buddy. Thanks for the advice on TV. Thanks, Tony. Thanks very much, mate.
He is special. Absolute dynamite. Oh my God.